of unkind words because you were too slow for them. And then it just ends up that then there's a light coming and it turns red. And you end up being next to each other anyways. So what was all that about? Where did the passion get you? I believe some of our devotees are leaving now. They got a long trip to make back home. So thank you very much.
Yay.
Bruce. Now you know where we are. The Learning Center. You can come back. We hope you will and have darshan of the Kurma avatars.
Okay, can we get a photo real quick right here?
Photo.
I can't do it. What's happening? Here we go. Come right around Maharaj. Right.
Thank you for delivering Maharaj seed.
Yeah, thanks guys. These guys gave up Sunday feast in New Vrindavan to be with us. So.
Ah, okay.
But they had lasagna for breakfast.
Oh,
Photo, come on in.
oh, good, good.
This one.
We'll put this on the Cleveland with WhatsApp. Is that okay? Okay. Ek team. Okay.
Gee,
Jai Krishna. Jai.
thank you. Audible, safe journey. See you back. Okay. Okay, so basically action, being confused is really what rolls out of the mode of passion. It's not a good place to be, honestly.
Thank you, thank you.
Even to have children, to bear children, to build a house or building a roads, it requires passion. But behind the passion, there's to be some planning. So you have to, there's architectural drawings that start with so many things. You know? Maybe you have to sell a few houses or buy up a few houses, or like if you want to get a road through the, you know, there's a lot of planning that goes on, you know. And planning usually refers to mode of goodness. It means you have to settle down, buckle down, sit by a desk, work with some paper or work with one of these guys with something screen bigger and have some patience. Then things start happening. Let's look at 32. Together, 1, 2, 3. Adharman dharman itya manyate tam savrita sarvatam viparitam scha buddhisa bharatatamasi. That understanding, which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion, under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always in the wrong direction, oparta, which means Arjuna, is in the mode of ignorance. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite of the way it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. People in ignorance understand a great soul to be a common person and accept a common person as a great soul. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. In all activities, they simply take the wrong path. Therefore, their intelligence is in the mode of ignorance. Yeah. Again, confusion, you know, definitely under that title. And being actually quite mixed up, and everything's very topsy-turvy, upside down. Krishna also gives that wonderful imagery to Arjuna. Try to understand this world. It's an upside down tree. And the best example we can see of something like that in this world is the banyan tree. They don't grow in Cleveland. I wish they would. They're beautiful. They grow up, they starts with a seed, one little thing like that. Put it in the ground, and they come up, and a trunk comes out, and then outstretching branches. And from the branches comes another root. And it sprouts off the branches, and it comes down to form a new trunk. And so in the end, you have a tree that looks like it has so many trunks. It looks like a forest. I was in the botanical garden in Kolkata some years back, and there was a tree that had 1,000 of those trunks. And on the plaque, that it was amazing, isn't it? And it was like a forest. I was walking through a forest, but there was one tree. The plaque indicated that the original trunk wasn't there anymore. It rotted, it died off. But the whole tree was sustained by all these multiple branches coming out, coming in, growing into the ground and rooting themselves, to just have more. So that what you could say is a tree that's upside down. And so the other example we can give, when I walked through Ohio, and I remember Ohio especially, and the countryside, a lot of farm or country estate owners, they have a pond, and they'll have a tree next to it, one or two trees. And when you look at the reflection of the tree, it's upside down, right? So Krishna's just saying, we live in an upside down world. What should be done is not done, and what should not be done is done, right? So everything's kind of mixed up. And dharma, which was a catchword that we used earlier on, means to do that which is essential, to get the essence of things. And that we're missing out on. What's essential? The spiritual side. Last week, I was actually around this time, I was at an interfaith program once again, and it was with Freemasons. Anybody ever heard of Freemasons? It's a benevolent group. It was like a man's group that's been around for a few hundred years. And everyone, all the people that were invited that represented different spiritual faiths had a prepared script. I didn't. It just didn't. I didn't know I was supposed to have one. So I just winged it. And I was it was nice to hear from everyone else, but they were just reading. But I felt good. I said, I'm going to wing it. And of course, I'm a bit nervous. And there's these guys in these suits with all the medallions they have all over them. And I'm just in a very different color. I really stick out like a sore thumb. And I just was happy to say, lay out some philosophical points that we are not these bodies. Nobody can argue with it. We are the spirit within the body, with the soul in the body. And we have to make good with that body. I talked about seva. I mentioned that word seva. I mentioned about karma. These are new words for these predominantly Christian people. But they invited me, so I said what I wanted to say. And one thing I did say is that near the end, to wrap it up, they gave me 5 minutes, everyone 5 minutes. The world is messed up. It's confused. It's upside down. But as brothers, because the theme was brotherhood, if we really work hard together, we can make a better place out of this world. So, there was no clapping at the end. No one was. It's all equal. It's church, after all. We're in a Presbyterian church, 1856. And you're in a little box in your pew, and there's a door that opens up. And it was quaint. It was nice. But thanks to our philosophy, thanks to the books, we have some insight here that should be shared, could be shared, must be shared with the general public. At least we like to say, give it a chance. Just look at it. See what you think about it. And because people are generally not exposed, they remain in the realm of ignorance, let's put it that way. I mean, understanding comes from, learning, hearing someone. And when you apply it, you'll see, yes, I get it now. I get it. But if no one hears about their real identity, what are you left with? A name, a gender, somebody has a certain creed, somebody who identifies with their career, I'm a janitor. I am a Uber driver. I am this and that, you know. So if we can go a little deeper, it really helps a lot through our journey as a human being. And it is a journey. And we want it to be a hero's journey. You know, a hero is somebody who's, you know, you see these stories about someone goes somewhere and they want to learn martial arts and they don't know how to do the martial arts, but they meet a master. You know, and the master is very impressive and very charismatic and also very stern and makes you work really hard, you know, because you're a weakling. So now you want to be able to protect yourself. You want to be a champ of sorts. So after some ordeal, after some hard work and training, finally you end up being the hero and you become the commander-in-chief after a while. And that's kind of like a hero story. But most people don't have their hero's journey. You know, our life is pretty bland, but you know, in Krishna's book, you're a hero when you admit to weaknesses. And I want to make some changes. I don't want to be weak, especially in the area of controlling the senses. And when we master or get close to master the way of our senses, then we can say, I am now some kind of a hero. Or Krishna will say, you're a hero. We'll let you know. Anybody want to be a hero? And to be a hero, you have to be humble. Like, let's go back to that master who knows everything. You know? You just have to be humble to the master. You can't just come say, listen, I've got a wonderful thing to offer you. I'm happy to be your student, but I've got a few things I can do for you. I'm an IT, you know, personnel, and I can whip up a program for you so you can promote your martial arts school. Well, that's where a lot of people are at these days. So no, it's not pride. Pride really stands in the way of making progress and the way of being a hero. A real hero is someone who knows how to be humble. And humble is different from low self-esteem. It's very different, for sure. So Krishna speaks about this in the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He talks about this, you know, taking a humble role and being ready to be of service to others. Actually, you know, when we do service and when it's selfless and we do it with no strings attached, with not even remuneration, but you do it just out of, you know, wanting to give, to help somebody. And yet there's a good feeling that comes from that. That's where we want to be at. And when you pay attention to details, then we're acting in the mode of goodness, being the present in the moment. Everyone gets satisfaction when you say you do a job right. You know? And if you're the kind of person that cuts corners, or if you're always like this, of course, people don't use watches anymore. But, you know, when is the coffee break? And how many more hours do we have to? When you're anxious like that, you're not in the present. You're just passionate. And that never brings on good vibrations, good results. So this is a good chapter, and it's going to wind up, take us to the point of surrender, just letting go, and stop all your crazy concoctions and your ideas. You're conjuring up so many concepts that won't get you very far. We want to get to the point of just letting go, just let the supreme soul, super soul take charge of us. That's where we want to go. I don't know if it's so easy, but it hasn't been thus far. We're understanding from the Vedic literatures we've been going through many lives, many challenges. And sometimes we fail, we fall. But we are humans, and we do have a chance to progress, to tweak life. One of my good friends, his godbrother's name is Sureshwara. and he loves to work with me on the dramas. And I'll give him a script because he's an English major. And I said, can you do something with this script? Can you spot any flaws here? And it's, yeah, he usually does find a little thing here and there that he can tweak. So we like that word tweak. Tweak. Tweaking life. Tweaking is forever. James Bond. Let's see, Diamonds Are Forever. I think it was one of the first movies that came out. By the way, I don't like that guy at all. I think he's a bad role model. I think he's terrible. Yeah, kill him. Put the crowd. I don't think he sends a good message out there, for guys especially, getting around, philandering around, no children, like irresponsible life. Really, that's what it's all about. He's been made a hero by being, well, what would you call it? Irresponsible. Yeah. Okay, so diamonds are forever. I'm not sure what it denotes, but I would say really the word tweaking is forever. Tweaking what life? Just trying to get better. Whatever you're doing, trying to get better, stop cutting corners, just do it well. And if you're going to clean the floor with a mop, and this is a big part of early training and being a brahmachari, a monk in the temple, you take that mop and you get every corner, you get it. And then you clean the mop after. After the mop is done, it's seva service. You've got to clean the mop after, right? Anybody's done janitorial work. So it's just tweaking the art of janitorial work, tweaking the art of whatever it is. Just do a good job, pay attention to details. And then there's a sense of pride that comes from you having done the work. Good. So I don't have too much more to say because Krishna said it all. But we did cover, and whoever's in your group here that is deciding how many verses to go through, what covers a particular line of thought, all glories to you. We covered the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And from ignorance and passion comes confusion, and from goodness comes clarity. And that's what we want. God is there. God lives.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you very much for listening. And we'll just go for some questions, if you have any, or just some comments, deliberations. It would be really great. Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah.
It's very calming. No wonder your little boy goes to sleep. Because of the sound of a creek, Being by the beach. Yes. Yeah, that's why you're so close there. Yes. Hare Krishna. Akhilananda.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj, for always being a wonderful example in your devotion to Prabhupada and to all the devotees, and with your extemporaneous thought and humor.
Extemporaneous?
Extemporaneous.
Okay. What does that mean?
Winging it. Literally.
Okay.
You are winging it across Canada and the United States. And I think that's so charming and kind of makes me think. Anyway, several points, but I just read this amazing. There was a radio personality called Paul Harvey. If you ever remember that, and he would tell a big story, and then it would be interrupted for a commercial, and then he would come back on and say, "Now, the rest of the story," and you would hear the conclusion that would tie everything together. Well, I read today on my phone that, of course, there's a nice book that we hand out with John Lennon and Prabhupada, a conversation between John Lennon, who was one of the Beatles, famous rock group, and of course George Harrison was another member of that.
You don't have to explain that to a bunch of us.
Yeah, but of course, but unfortunately, in one sense, poor John Lennon was murdered by a fellow who was not mentally stable in New York City, and I forget the year.
1980.
1980. And the guy only did it because he wanted to be famous for killing somebody famous. And so John Lennon had given great facility to the devotees back in England and at his mansion, Hurst, and many conversations with Prabhupada there. Anyway, so we wondered what happened at the time of his death. And we just learned after 20 years from the person who shot him that at the very end he chanted Hare Krishna. Because this person who was insane was in an insane asylum, remanded to a facility. And every 10 years they would examine him for his consciousness to see if he could be let loose, again into society. So after 20 years, he explained that he wanted to bring him down, and he did. But he said that he chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama.
Wow.
I mean, is that amazing?
Yeah.
He didn't know that for so long,
Mhm.
and that came out. Finally, some mode, changed.
That recently?
Yeah. I don't know when. Well, 20 years would have been 2000. But anyway, we're talking about the modes acting, and Prabhupada wanted us to become gentlemen. So that means that perhaps we were not gentlemen. Just like doing so many things, we would not be considered gentlemen. So at least come to that standard of goodness, and then we can understand what has to be done and what not has to be done.
Nice. Thank you, Miss Ishitamisha.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. It's
Hare
such a
Krishna.
wonderful opportunity to be graced by you. And I just wanted to show you a picture of the banyan tree.
The which?
The banyan tree.
Oh, yes.
It's
Okay.
huge. It's about big as this room, the whole trunk.
Uh-huh. Oh, they're so mystical and magical.
Yeah.
Could you walk through the different?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like a forest.
Is it dark in there?
Yeah. It was an overcast day.
I mean, that's seen one before.
No, it's a beautiful section from the Bhagavad Gita. It's one of the shortest chapters.
Isn't that one of the forms of Krishna? He says, "I am Mani,"
Try and check it.
and the fig tree and the tulsi tree.
We'll see. Oh, it's not mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, but not we'll see, but she's a great devotee of the Lord. Sacred green.
Isn't it? No, they said I'm trees. I'm also tulsi. Not in the Bhagavad Gita. No. Another place. No?
I don't know where.
Okay.
Some of the Puranas. I haven't read everything. Anything else for this? Yes.
Right, you spoke of heroes. There's a hero of mine here today, which is Akhilananda. He has been such an inspiration to me with the Rath Yatras and just how he lives his life so humbly. And that to find a hero, I think is very difficult, but I just think you should find a hero like that. Somebody that's not famous, somebody that doesn't shout what he does. I mean, Akhilananda never tells anybody anything. He's just so humble, and I just want to tell him how much I appreciate him coming to Cleveland with his cart, and I go with him wherever I can. If I can go on a Rath Yatra, and
His wife too. She came.
yeah, I just want to have heroes like a person like Akhilananda. I hold him very high.
I would like to second that emotion. It's for Akhilananda to come to pick me up all the way to Akron. So I can be able to associate with you wonderful fellows. Devotees of Lord Vishnu. Jai, Haribo.
Sadhu Sangha, thank you for all coming
Jai,
and
Haribo.
dancing ecstatically. And wasn't that Krishna's arrangement? That at the
Yes.
end of the parade, we've never happened before. We paused for like half an hour and chanted in front of thousands of people. And the kirtan was really wonderful. And somehow or other, Krishna arranged that we stayed right there And the Boy Scouts with their van, their trucks had to come past us, and I saw different groups were also keeping time to the music, and really we couldn't proceed because the line of Prashadam was clear out in the street. It was like, we're not gonna move, we want Prashadam. So, it was really wonderful.
And you didn't get any rain.
Yeah, there were
That's
just,
over very
there were
A little bit
little,
at the end.
little spots of moisture, and we couldn't understand whether they were heavenly flowers or rain.
Nice. Nice. Well, I appreciate what you said about little heroes, not big heroes, but they're virtually not known. They're in the neighborhood, though. There's a hero in every neighborhood. Maybe in every family, there's a hero we don't recognize.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just, let's say, fixed on what needs to be done. Duty, responsibility, and being selfless about it. Not expecting anything in return, just that kind of selfless love. Hard to come by sometimes, because we don't speak about it. The novels out there are not about that. The movies are not about that. I don't know if you hear about in educational learning places how to be a hero. Naturally, we all sort of gravitate towards the biggies, those who have like an epical, colossal image, where people throng around them. Usually, those people are not heroes. They get too much attention. Yeah, they get spoiled, right?
But Maharaj,
Yeah.
speaking on heroes in this city right here, I can name a few of them. We have quite a few heroes. This lady right here and her husband, they came to my rescue so many times.
Wow, nice. And what about Toledo? It's supposed to be holy. Right?
Believe
That was the expression we always have over. Is it still used?
My daughter bought me a shirt that says Holy Toledo because in our family it's still used. Yes.
Isn't that amazing you would think of that?
Apparently there were a lot of churches there.
I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah,
That's how it
it
was.
really was. There was a lot of churches there.
Yeah. Now, there's not too many holies, but lots of holes, perhaps. As Kali Yuga advances, this age of unforgettable madness, we just don't see too many shining examples. We're not encouraged to be holy. We're not encouraged to be virtuous. Let's put it that way. We're not encouraged to be spiritual. Definitely not religious. So it's got a bad name. Religion's bad.
Maharaj, you travel quite a bit. Can you tell us how you see the movement expanding in many ways, perhaps?
Well, yeah, okay, sure. Like, there's the movement is growing, and in some places more than others. What I see, wherever there's good management, you're going to see it flourishing. And I think there's a famous dialogue that Prabhupada had with Giri Raj Swami. This was close to Prabhupada's, before he departed. And he said, he asked his disciple Giri Raj, so how do you think the movement will go on? And Giri Raj's answer was along the lines of, well, if people do their sadhana, they're very regulated, and they go about everything very sincerely. We keep chanting. And Prabhupada kind of rejected that answer. And his answer was organization, good organization, and intelligence. He felt that perhaps was what was missing. And not that isn't spiritual. We should dovetail our intelligence and our skills in the service of Krishna. So to answer the question, I see where there's a lot of sincere people managing things nicely, which usually means looking after your people. taking care of them, taking care of their needs. So there's pockets, like in North America, because I've been involved in North America for a number of years now. And there are pockets where we have some troubled communities. It become very political, but I would say there's more good than that. There's growth happening. I mean, temples are being built, communities are growing, and I just think you have a real nice situation here. You have a nice foundation, good platform, good people. You're communicating with each other well. I don't see any politics. I don't hear. Maybe a little bit is behind us. It's very minuscule.
I squashed that real quick.
Oh, did you? So you willed it to happen, and it happened. And so I do see growth. Definitely in India, it's growing fast. In Eastern Europe, it's growing fast. Of course, with the war going on, maybe the stunted growth for the moment. Just in some places, we're doing good. And well, one good thing we should take advantage of. There's a lot of international students in North America, in the big cities. They bring a lot of their gifts. They're respectful. In fact, last year when I was here, I met was it Abade or he came from Australia. He and his wife. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they were just here by happenstance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I said, "What are you doing here?"
they're on the way to Newman.
Yeah, Newman or something like that. Yeah. And now they've got a pretty successful program. So I asked him at that time, what's the layout in Australia? How is it working? Are we growing? He said, yeah, we're growing. He was actually saying that there's a lot of participation from immigrants from India, especially involved in our city temples. They said in our country ashrams, it's the local people are very involved. So there is growth. We talked about more deeper subject matters, but that's good. Now, our experience in Toronto, I decided that Toronto's a big city. It's growing like crazy. Traffic is horrible. It's horrendous. And it's hard for our people who live all over the place to come to the main temple downtown. So I just thought, okay, well, we've got some very bright people. They're initiated. They're successful with their businesses. They're good with their families. They know how to deal with people nicely. So why not give them a chance? Okay, you're living in the suburbs. Why don't we open up something there? And so they did. And then eventually it started off small, it grew. And then we bought a building. It's on Brampton. We bought it. And another place, Milton, branched out of that. That's another suburb. And we bought that. So we start off in all these little areas of, small communities, because the population warrants it, the growth warrants it. And so, like we've got in the greater Toronto area, we've got about 10 centers now instead of one.
Wow.
If we think everything's just going to happen in one place, we're just dreaming. As the place grows exponentially. So I think it's a success story. It's not like we don't have problems. We do have challenges. But like I was involved in Miami, and that's a problematic place because it's bad management. It's so bad that it's hard to get anyone to penetrate into that. Well, in Latin America, people are very prime. They're good, but it's financially, it's tough. People are struggling just to get by. And I'd say Eastern Europe. I think Australia's doing some good things there. Where there's innovation and good management, new ideas, fresh ideas. That seems to be where we're flourishing on the planet Earth. Yeah, and I think we have to do what people want. We started another experiment in Toronto. We're trying to get out of the temple and go to a yoga place, which is on the downward dog, which is a yoga studio that's been there for quite a few decades. just to go there and do a little yoga and also the mala trip and do it in a real sober way, not with deities or, just a way that relates to the local folks. And so we're just trying to go that way. There's a need to bring in local people, figure out what to do. But through Rashad, on this week, we're opening up something in cottage country. It's called Muskoka. And one of our gentlemen from the community, he bought 2 movie houses in a town of 20,000, call it a city then. And he decided he wanted to have a temple and a restaurant. So they had dredged it, they made it level, floors, movie houses, they sloped, so he leveled it. And he did that for the restaurant, the new restaurant, and for the temple, which has a high ceiling. So he maintained the high ceiling, one movie house for the temple. The other one, restaurant, plus 2 floors of 14 units where people can live.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, we put a lot of money out there. We don't own it, but he wants us to run it. So we're happy to do that. And that's our program. We got mostly the Gujaratis in there. Our plan is to bring in, the local folks where they get to eat. And once they eat, they get more interested. We had one person sponsored the carving of Krishna, made of maple wood,
Wow.
and one of Radha. So they're like 8 foot tall. They're in the lobby.
Wow.
And we're almost open. We're open actually on the 10th of this month. And when it came to the sculpting of Krishna, I said, can you make Krishna? I talked to the sculptor. Let's make him look like a guy. Because Krishna looks like a girl most times.
Yeah.
And let Radha look like a girl. Okay, I'm just telling you where And so we looked at, we went through different sort of like, what would you call it? Heartthrob guys. And we looked at pictures of, beautiful women. So what's the name of the woman who plays Scarlett O'Hara?
Maureen?
No, Scarlett Johansson.
What's her name?
Scarlett Johansson.
No.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Oh,
What's
from
the name
Star
of the-
Trek?
No. Vivian Lee.
What are you talking about?
Because she looks beautiful. She looks like an Indian princess, right? So we chose her, so we carved her, and she's there. She's Radha. And then there was a guy who was quite popular in the 50s, and he used to play Hercules. I forget his name, but no. He just had a sort of a pious demigod kind of face and build, and so he's our Krishna.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
Is it dark or what? Because Krishna's dark.
No, they're Maplewood.
I forget his name. Not to us, he's Krishna.
Jai to us, he's Krishna.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting model because we're in a small city, but it's in cottage country. So a lot of people go up there in the summer, and there's a lot of yoga folks up in that area. And so we're just trying it out. The Gujaratis are moving in, and they've monopolized the hospitality industry pretty much. Getting out the hotels. And that's what we're working with. We're working a lot with those folks. They're very helpful. In fact, I just want to tell you, when I walked across the U.S., we never had used a tent once in America. And we only paid for being in a motel maybe 10 nights. The rest of the time, we mostly stayed in hotels run by Gujarati folks. And they have that piety. They're born with the love for Krishna. And says, oh, Swamiji, we take care of you. And we will also cook for you. So, that's, I think that's just being a little intelligent, the way it worked out for us.
Very nice.
The way it was managed. And I remember when we walk through Cleveland. I was with Dial, and we were going to the downtown. I think it was Dial. No, it was with Arjun. Yeah. Abhimanyu Arjun. And there were several city blocks blocked off. We couldn't go through there. We had to do a detour because they were filming The Fast and the Furious in downtown Cleveland, which is a remarkable looking. You got a fantastic looking downtown. That architecture, it's beautiful.
Authentic.
It's beautiful.
They're doing the new Superman movie, I heard.
Oh, in Cleveland? Oh, okay.
Parkwood Avenue.
Parkwood. Okay. Yeah, and I remember going to the eastern part of Cleveland, where the folks got a little bit of wealth. The response was incredible. I had so many people stopping. And we also walked through the neighborhood of where Bhakti Swami had lived.
You're on Kansas.
That was fun.
Kansas.
And then we walked closer to where you were living before the tree came on your house.
Right, yes. Yeah. The west side. Yeah.
On the west, yeah, the west side. That's right, west side, yeah.
West side.
Along the lake.
Right.
And we started swimming at the end of May in Lake Erie. It was fun. It was great.
What was this, Mara?
When was this?
Yes.
2000,
Really?
2016.
16.
And we went all the way to, walked all the way to Lincoln, Nebraska, the dead center of the country. Yeah. So anyway, Hare Krishna, we had a great time. Thank you very much for listening.
You got your books, right?
Yeah, we do. We just same book. I'm doing a second book. It's about poems, but we still have this one. If anybody wants, we'll give you a discount.
What's this book?
It's the Walking Adventures. We've got Cleveland there. I told my story about Toledo. Well, we got them over there. But I have to tell you one thing, is that I'm supposed to do a 1 or 2 minute video on honor of Gopal Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
I need to get out there somewhere and spend a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes with. You're probably the best videographer here.
No, he has,
Oh, yeah.
You are?
What you want? He has a whole setup if you need it.
yeah,
If you
he's
just
got,
want to do it on your phone or.
yeah, he's got the setup.
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever you-
send
yeah.
it. Okay, then we just have to send it to somebody in Toronto for their Sunday feast begins.
So you want me to send you a link?
So why don't you wrap and you can take them in the small room there and just do it there.
Small room or even outdoor greenery.
Yeah, not close, it's not
We'll
close.
get disturbed in the parking lot.
What time is
There's no greenery out here.
Okay. Well, I see some green there, but it's next to
Yeah,
the.
you could do it.
Maybe
You could do it in the
back there.
small office or in Tanya's office.
Behind.
Oh,
Okay. No,
Or we
let's
can-
do it. Okay, so I'll join you in just a few minutes. This is kind of a timer thing.
yeah.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So I want to thank you very much and
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
No, I met Malati last night. She had come here after the program. She was really happy about the procession. I
Yeah,
rolled
thank
out.
you for organizing.
We aim to please.
Yeah. Good. All right, so,
We'll sing Prashad prayers. We'll start out.
okay.
Thank you, man.
Try. Thank you.
Prashad Govinde.
Prashad Govinde.
Ram Ramani Vaishnave.